Good morning, Ian. Good morning, Karki. I was waiting till my volume thing came on, so sorry for the sound delay there. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Let me know if you can. Oh, sorry. Well, Ian, do I have a special surprise for you today? I'm not going to tell you because it won't be a surprise. Carol, how's your weather this morning? Nice and toasty warm up there? Actually, don't know what it was here. Sorry. I was trying to see what the temperature was here and I got distracted. Well, I know that ain't right. It said 82. That had to be yesterday. Well, right now it says it's about, no, it's all the way up to 66. But there were new record lows in Mississippi River area. Well, it says 38. Shouldn't get down to 38. So I don't know if it's done that already or not. 53 right now. Good morning, Diana. Where's your lesser half at today? Is he in the room? 35. Well, you guys got your wools out and your sweaters and all that. You're ready for cold weather? Good idea, Carol. I need to finish filling mine. Yeah, I'm going to wait just a few minutes. I do have at least one topic to discuss. Good morning, Mike. I sent Mike a song this week on Instagram or on, well, I guess it was YouTube. Can't wait. He probably had already. I bet you. Had you heard that song before, Mike? And Diana, did he play it for you? Mike, I got to blame you for something. Make sure you're paying attention before I say it. Yep, Cord Blund. Is that a song that you guys knew? I mean, it was Cord Blund in that case, but it's really an Ian Tyson song. As far as I know, Ian Tyson wrote it. But supposedly, it's a real Canadian, anthem kind of a thing. A lot of people know. And it might not be either. That's why I sent it to you guys. You can tell me. And while I'm thinking about it, and since you brought it up, no, wait a minute, I brought it up. But since you brought up Corb, had you ever heard of him before? Then I'll tell you how I know where I learned from him. Of him. Oh, I got a sea channel in my head. I listened to some music before you guys got here. Oh, cool. Well, that's good. I had never heard of him until I guess it was last December. and I was watching the National Farmers Rodeo, and he was on live on one of the late after. No, it was an afternoon show they were running with Flint Rasmussen, and he had him on there and singing and doing some just generally talking, and so I started looking up his music. He's got several songs I really like. Hey, good morning, Kay Atwood. How are you today? Actually, Brenda actually likes some of his music, which she generally isn't a. I don't know what you'd call him. I'd call him the folk singer in the line of somebody like Gordon Lightfoot almost. And I could be wrong. I'm not good at. I just know music. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. Whatever flavor it is. How's South Carolina today, Kay? Mark said he would try to be here today. I haven't heard from him though in 3 days or so, which is not too unusual. He's been he's had a lot of company of late, and he told his wife the other day that he was just about ready to have himself for company. So he's liable to have run off into the mountains on his horse and put up a tent somewhere and just stayed out in the woods. I don't know if you guys have figured that out about Mark, but he's that kind of guy. He likes his alone time, and if there's anybody I ever knew that got the so-called high lonesome, I think it's probably him. Plus, he's not real keen on electronics and gadgetry and being connected. He likes to keep a small circle of friends about him. Don't get me wrong. He has a tribe, but lately he's been inundated by family and in-laws and sons and daughters and grandchildren and dogs and horses and a mule, that kind of thing. So he's been sort of busy, but I think that settled down unless he had company today. But when I talked to him Tuesday or so, might have been Wednesday, but I think it was Tuesday. He was going to try to be here. So we'll see. He may pop up any minute now. And if he doesn't, we'll talk. We'll find something to talk about. I didn't put together any slides today because I decided that wasn't. If you put a big question mark in your show thumbnail, you might as well hold up to it. Kay, did you guys? I don't know if I asked you this or not, but did you guys get any wind damage or rain extra flooding or anything like that up your way? I know you're a good ways from the coast, but I'm sure you still got effects off of Ian. Ian was here. Ian, are you still with us? I hope you are, because I've got something special for you. Carol, I mailed you as we say in the Disney circles, I sent you some magic mail yesterday. I don't know how fast the pony will get to Michigan, but it should be there in a couple of days. Not sure actually how Brenda took it into the post office for me, so I'm not sure how she sent it. I sent you one, and I sent Angie one. Sorry. Oh, really? You just had a drizzle of rain? I figured you guys got a lot of rain. I was afraid we were going to get a ton of rain out of it, and in the end, we really didn't. So, wasn't that big of a deal, I guess. And I was hoping the mountains would keep it off of us, and I guess they did. But sometimes when those things slip up, if they get to the west side of the mountains, we tend to get really inundated. And well, if it's still carrying enough moisture, then if it gets into Virginia, we usually catch hell too because most of their water, river water and whatnot, comes down our way. So that usually creates some problems. Oh, you're very welcome, Carol. And I hope maybe you can read it to your kids. Maybe your kids are too young. I don't know, but um, school kids. But if not, then you're welcome to donate it to your library or whatever. But I would like, I guess and I have no monetary interest in the book. I mean, I don't. It's not my book. I didn't know anything about it till a few months ago. It's not. But I like the book, and Mark's artwork is in the book, and Mark's not doesn't get anything out of it either. Just so we're not trying to sell books, but I would like to see it get around because I think it's a kind of an important story that told in a. Where you going, bud? Told in a not so much a scientific way, so I think younger kids or kids can understand it and hopefully appreciate what it's all about. Well, I thought they were okay. That's what I was thinking. That's why I was surprised when you said you didn't get much because it was supposed to roll right on into your area. I thought. Again, up till it butts up against the mountains, it usually, doesn't slow down much. They kept talking about how much moisture it was carrying because it was out over the ocean so much, but I guess by the time it got up your way, it just didn't have much left. Has anybody, speaking of that, has anybody actually talked to any of our friends down there? I've seen a couple of emails. Well, I've exchanged a couple of DMs on Instagram with Mike and Val, but haven't really talked to anybody else. But so far, I don't know of anybody getting a lot of damage unless it was Russ. And I don't know the story. Maybe one of you do, but I saw Russ had posted something this morning, as in what's his? How does he put his name? What in the world is Russ or something like that? Let me see if I can find it. He said something about his car was destroyed or damaged. I just wondered if that was storm damage or if that was something else. I was going to see if I could find that real quick. I just saw it a little bit ago. I think I'm close. Sorry, guys. One of you may already have shown it. I can't see my screen at the moment. Well, heck. Where'd all this stuff come from? I can't ever get over just how much activity there is on Instagram and stuff. It's just, I mean, it's not like I don't know that, but it just surprises me. Oh, well, I can't find it. It's in there somewhere. I'm sure somebody saw it. His car was in an accident, not storm damage. Aha, Tina. Hi, Tina. Welcome. Didn't know you were popped in yet. You gonna be able to hang around, or you got other duties as described? Russ hit a deer. Whoa, that can be bad. I don't have any. I don't know what he drives. Does anybody know what kind of car? Cause I guess he said it destroyed it, which it doesn't take much to total a car these days. It's amazing how efficient cars have become in the gas related sense, even gas powered ones, but they don't hold up well. I don't want to say they don't hold up well in a crash because they're designed to protect you in a crash, but that usually means they shed energy when you hit something, which basically means all the parts start falling off. Dog macrame. Would you like to explain that? I thought about sending Russ deer whistles in the mail. Not sure if he would take that lot or not, but I think it's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he can take that right now. That's kind of like taking the old joke about, there's a guy on the corner that nobody goes to see because he's too scary, and everybody thinks he's got hidden children in the basement and that sort of stuff. And then somebody sends him a sample bottle of he gets a sample bottle of like deodorant in the mail, and he thinks somebody's telling him he stinks, so he goes on a rampage. You might not want to do that. And I'm not telling it exactly right, but that's close. Ford Focus. Well, a deer would definitely. I bet it came. I wonder if it didn't come through his windshield. Oh, untangling dog leashes. You should consider attaching a piece of a wool yarn or something to that, Tina, and then cutting that down and selling it as dog art. There might be a real market for that. You never know what people. You never know what somebody might buy these days. Speaking of deer hitting cars, I don't know if Mike. Do you guys have moose in your area? And they maybe. Well, I don't know. You might. I've seen damage from a moose, and that's really, really bad. No windshield damage. Well, it didn't jump then. They usually jump up and then they come right across the hood and come through the windshield. I've known a couple of people that ended up with deer in their front seat with them, and usually that doesn't work out too good either. Because half the time they're not dead, and sometimes they're just stunned, and they come into the car and then they start lashing out with their. I actually knew some cops that threw one they thought was dead in the middle of the road. They threw it in their car, and it basically came back alive and destroyed the interior of the back of the car from hoof damage and whatnot. They got the doors open, got him out of there real quick. Our next door just had a heated discussion on the merits of deer whistles. I'm going to be honest with you, deer whistles don't work. I'll tell you from a scientific. That's been studied a lot. No, there's no scientific proof they actually work. But hey, if it makes you feel better, put them on there. Oh, let me go back here just for a minute. I think I saw. Yeah, Diana said they have lots of moose there. So you guys have to watch moose on the road, or be careful not to hit moose on the road, because that's, like I said, that's bad news. I saw a picture of one where a moose had come over the hood of a car and gone completely through the car, through the front windshield and then the back windshield. Well, I think he got stuck kind of in the back, but he almost took the whole roof off. Now I don't know how fast they were going. Probably too fast, all things considered. But now, Carol, can you explain that to me? You said our next door app just had a heated discussion. What do you mean by our next door app? Is that a maybe I don't understand that. I used to have to watch while she's explaining it. There's what in the world is Russ. Morning. Good morning, Russ. I was just telling folks about your car and stuff, but most everybody in here knows more about it than I do. So they were explaining to me. I really hate to hear that, but now I understand that you might have hit a deer. I used to have to really watch for them when I would go to work in the morning. They were real bad in this one area across the road, and when I used to ride a motorcycle every day to work, and I guess they were, Tina. And I had to really watch and be careful. I had quite a few go out in front of me, but at distance enough that I got slowed down. That wasn't a problem. But I had one pop out of the ditch one day and come out, and then decide to run, sort of turn beside me and then go back, the way it had come. And unfortunately, I reached out. I could have reached out and smacked him on the butt. I mean, he was just within a foot of me. I guess he was too close. I could see the hairs on the back of his back. And yeah, that was close enough for me. I don't want to get any closer on a scooter because that's a bad cracker. I've known several people that have hit deer, and some of them come out okay, but that usually does some at least serious road rash and tears the crap out of a motorcycle too. Good friend of mine hit two dog. Oh, Tina, you might want to cover up the dog's ears. My buddy Phil was out warming up. Well, he might have told this story the day he was on tonight or the day he was on here, but he hit two hound dogs and it killed both of them, but put him in the hospital for a month and uh, tore his motorcycle up pretty bad. Didn't total it, but tore it up. Broke a lot of stuff. Hey, buddy, you want to come up and say hi? Come here. Miss Carol's here. Come here. Yeah. There you go. Come up here. Oh, goodness gracious. You know, you're not good for my back. Say hi, Carol. Say hi, Miss Carol. Hey, look at the TV. Look at the screen. Say hi, everybody. There's an app called Nextdoor. You can join your neighborhood's discussion. People use it to discuss local issues, buy, sell, donate things, etc. Ours is full of people who argue just to argue. Oh, that sounds like something I might not want to get involved in. Come here. You want to get a little closer? All right, now stand up. Come here. Come on. Stand up. I hope you got to see Teddy, Carol. He let me hold him for a minute. I bet it did, Russ, mess your car up. I'm glad it didn't. I was discussing, I guess. A lot of times the deer will come over the hood and into the windshield. So I'm glad that didn't happen. Is the car totaled, or do you know yet? Hmm. My wife went wandering around the neighborhood yesterday. She's apparently not in here. I haven't seen her yet. I haven't heard anything either, which means she probably fell back to sleep. Anyway, she met a new neighbor lady and was talking to Julie, who is Sarah's mom and James's wife. And they I don't know how far this went, but Brenda's trying to scheme up a trip to the beach so she can go shell hunting before all the shells get gone from the storm. It's maybe too late already, but she's wanting to do it nonetheless. That may be where my next video comes from. Excuse me. Well, Carol, that kind of goes to the old saying, good fences make good neighbors. I'm not sure being online with them would be all that. I don't know if that'd be good or bad. At least you couldn't hit each other. Car is still sitting. No, oh wow, in Ocala. Well, I don't know how far you live from Ocala, but I'm guessing not close since you were working in Orlando or Kissimmee. Garage I took it to let it sit for a week before telling me they couldn't work on it. Oh, well, that's just wonderful. So you have to tow it to Orlando next week and hope someone can get to it soon. Wow. Somebody said it was a Ford. Is it a Ford Focus? Which I always thought was a good little car. Phil had one for a while. You done for the day? You're not going to say hi to anybody else? Oh, well. I know that the radiator was shot and lots of cosmetic damage to the front driver's side. It's a Ford Fiesta. Okay, not a Focus, a Fiesta. Oh, you just bought it. Oh, no. Oh, man. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that too, Russ. I hope you can get that taken care of. That makes it kind of hard to work or, look for a job or get a job or go to your job or buy groceries or anything. Of course, I guess you can get some of that online these days. So. But really sorry to hear that. That's a tough break for anybody. Okay, Tina, if you can hear me, pop back in. I'm going to show you. You asked me a question yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Mark's not here, and I don't know if he's going to make it or not. And who knows who else will come in? Maybe nobody today. So I've got a special, and Ian, this goes out to you too. I hope he's still here. I know he's working. Ian, let me know if you can hear me because I'm going to save this. All right, Tina's here. When he was coming home from the first. Oh no, that hasn't worked out either for other reasons. Oh, well, sorry to hear that too, Russ. All right, yesterday, Tina asked me a question about maple trees and changing colors and that sort of thing. So I put together, if I can find out. Oh, this is it. I put together I found something that I'm going to show. But Tina asked me about leaves on a tree and why they change colors. So I'm going to show you that right now. Ian, this is a film just for you. Nice, pretty picture of a bluebird. So there you go. That's why it happens. But before I get into that too much, what did I do? Oh, nothing. I thought I cut it off. Morning, Leanne Sherbick. Oh my God, be still, my heart. I can't believe you're in here this morning. It's been so long. It seems like I haven't seen you in a coon's age. Prepping for dinner, is that as in evening dinner or lunch at noontime dinner, which is what we used to call it? So Tina, that's how it happens. When as this, it really has as much to do initially with sunlight. As the days get shorter, the trees sense that. I don't want to make it sound like the tree has a brain, but it senses that in the sunlight, the leaves can't produce as much. Um, well, I can't even think of the right words here. Sap or whatever to keep the tree survive. So they start shutting the leaves down, and at the same time, when the sun comes out and it does warm up, the tree continues to transpirate or give off air into oxygen and whatnot into the atmosphere and moisture. So it shuts down it can hold all that, and it happens through that process of less sunlight, colder temperatures, and then once they get to a certain point, they pop off. Most of them do. Now, some trees, and down here we have trees that will keep their dead leaves on pretty much all winter, and then they'll fall off as the new leaves come on in the spring. Sugar, yeah, that's a good. Might as well call it sugar, Tina. I mean, it's the sap, and which is what sugar is made out of. Russ is having breakfast, dinner, pizza rolls, and Coca-Cola. Well, that's better than what I've had so far. Well, I did have a banana with some peanut butter on it. That's all I've had today. So, Ian, what'd you think of your movie, buddy? That was just for you. I found that and said, Ian will enjoy this. You weren't paying attention. Had to go back, scroll up there to see that. Evening dinner every Saturday is like Thanksgiving Day around here. Oh, well, that makes sense if it's your weekly family day. I'd do that, but it'd kill me and Brenda because kids, they just come over and eat and probably leave. They kind of act like they're going to help, but then, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But sometimes it does. I shouldn't say that. But always good to see you and everybody in here. But Leanne, it's been a while. As the kids these days say, it's been a minute. And then Tina had another question. Tina, you also asked me why maples. How'd you put that? Why some maples are different colors? I believe is what you said. You're welcome, Ian. I'm glad you liked it. I'll admit it was probably a little above grade level for everybody in this room, but it was, like I said, I kind of thought you'd like it, Ian. It'd be good probably for kids a little old, maybe older than Carol's kids at school, but But then again, hers might understand it better than I would have when I was their age. So, man, it felt good this morning. I'm drinking in my newest Death Wish mug. I'll put that right there. Now you can't see the bottom. There it is. I can't hold it steady. It's got an owl in the middle. That's why I bought this one. Yeah, I'm getting PC. Well, I may be too late, Russ. As they quit saying that, if people quit saying that already. I don't keep up with trends and that sort of thing these days very much. Yeah, well, here's what I figured. I mean, I've noticed that too, and I know that first off, there's several different kinds of maple trees, and you could have more than one kind in the area, but there's also different sugar maples. Um, I was reading up on that, and my guess is they've over years of time, some of those have mixed, and you get a kind of a mix of red and yellow. And now there are, it's probably not your case, but like you can go out and buy a maple tree now at an orchard or at a greenhouse, and you can actually get a maple that's been bred might not be the right word. Some people would say that, but pollinated and developed where it might be a blend of colors or a different color. So you've kind of got two or three different kinds of maple color red, and sugar maples can be bright yellow or they can be red too. I think it probably just depends on where you're at so much, and I don't know. I don't know why that in particular, but there also are maples that all kind of look alike, but they have different color leaves, and you got black maples and sugar maples and silver maples, and I got a whole list of them here somewhere. Did I keep that? Like I say, some of them are just cultivars that have been developed by greenhouse people and that sort of thing. I mean, some of them are named things like Blazing Beauty, and uh, I know I saw that one, and I didn't keep that one, I guess. But you got silver maples, red maples, which usually are bright red, and black maples, sugar maples, and about 10 other ones here. They're just fairly common. Some are imports too now that are out there. Not in your case. I'm sure it's an older neighborhood, but Norway maples are fairly common. Box elders, big leaf maple, that's more out west. Big tooth maple is more out west. So there's a lot, and I'll tell you what I found to be most interesting. I guess it's just because I never thought about it. I like to think about something new every day. Is how many different trees they actually. Hey, Dave, welcome in. Good morning. You got a big day planned? I'm going to watch football here in a little bit. I'll just admit it. Tennessee plays today at noon, and they're down in LSU country. And that's all I'm going to say about it because I don't want to give them any bad luck. Birthday party and football, hot dog. That's the best, not the best part of the fall, but good part of the fall. I like college football. I don't much care for the pro, but I like college. I've probably said that before too. I'm starting to think my boy ain't going to make it today. I'm going to have to track him down. I hope everything's okay in Wyoming. As far as I know, Ian didn't get out in that part of the country. Oh yeah, cooler weather. Cooler weather up here too, Dave. I didn't look to see what you guys were getting today, but I saw that cooler temperatures were dipping down that far. Okay, Mike. Thanks. If you can listen in, that's great. And if you get back today, just let us know. Which part of the country? What are you talking to, Ian? Dave or me? Dave's in Georgia. I'm in Tennessee. As the name implies. By the way, my coffee is called Wake the Hell Up. Oh, maybe it's not Wake the Hell Up. Well, we celebrate good brands of coffee around here. Is that Wake the blank up? Is that a word that you could derive from fire truck, or is it a word that you can HE double hockey sticks, or? Sure, mod. Okay. Oops. Oh, well, I didn't mean you, Ian. Well, no, I guess you did. No, I meant the hurricane. I was kidding. I hadn't talked to Mark in a few days, and I said, I don't reckon Ian got out there and did damage to Wyoming, but so I was just kidding, but I was kind of saying it for your benefit. I looked at somebody's coffee the other day online. Tina, I don't know what you got a local. You said you had a local brand, or is it actually roasted locally too, Tina? Do you know? Well, actually, my coffee comes out of New York. I can't remember what the name of the town is. I'd have to look it up. And I've never looked on a map to see where it was either. Oh, they've got pumpkin chai now, which I couldn't even imagine. I think that's probably not something I'd be drinking. I finally did try pumpkin spice something recently though, and or Russ, you paying attention as some of the kids say these days? Meh. It's another one of those things that sometimes you wish you could just kind of smack them for. No, I didn't mean that. No, if anybody heard that, I didn't mean that. Okay, I can't find where they're at. Maybe it's in here. Their offices are in one place, but their roasting areas is in another place. Well, their headquarters are in Saratoga Springs. That's where they were originally started. Oh, they're even selling coffee to the astronauts now. I didn't know that. Well, I know they've got a fact or where they roasted in a different part of New York, but I don't see that here. I saw it yesterday. I was looking at their they were advertising for jobs. Oh, here it is. Let's see if I can look at that too. I don't see it yet. Round Lake, New York, Tina. Do you know where Round Lake is? Hey, Francisco, welcome in. Sorry, I was off on a small mission there. Smack a kid, no. I meant, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it. That wasn't very, Russ, that wasn't very PC of me, was it? Yeah, mine's got extra caffeine too, they say. I'll have to look it up sometime, Tina, and figure out where it's at. I mean, I realize New York's a big old place, but don't you know everybody that lives in New York? Don't you love it when somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I know a guy from Tennessee. You might know him." And I may have said that in my life too. I just sent you a pic on the group IG. Oh, I'll look at that then. Ba-dum. I like it. Utica. Brenda actually started drinking a little bit lately, but I think she's trying to figure out how to get it as weak as she possibly can. Oh, it's cinnamon bun coffee. How is that? I mean, you'd think anything that says cinnamon bun would have to be good. I don't like flavored coffees. Everybody raise your hand. Who likes flavored coffees in the room? I mean, it just as a rule. I'm not saying you can't go get a mint mocha or something from somebody that knows what they're doing, but let me explain why I say that. Everyone thinks New York City when you say New York. Yeah, but I know better. I'd love to see upstate New York. I know I used to know a lot of people, meet a lot of people doing rendezvous and muzzleloading stuff that lived in upstate New York. And they had some rendezvous up there, and I always wanted to go to one because I wanted to see that country. Some flavored coffee. I used to buy beans sometimes, like on a special occasion. I would buy, oh, I don't know, hazelnut chocolate coffee beans, say for Christmas morning or something. Going to flavor it up when the kids are here, and that kind of thing. But after that, I mean, once you do that, I can do it with sugar, and I can flavor it up, and it's okay. But just as drinking coffee, to me, it has this weird. And every flavored coffee I've ever had, at least bean wise that I've ground, has this. It's got kind of a weird aftertaste to it that I just don't care for. And Ian's drinking Black Rock coffee. Is that brewed locally, Ian? Because I know in Black Rocks in Colorado, I may be wrong about that. So is Sarasota west of you, Tina? I'm lost. I apologize. Carol says she mostly drinks plain black coffee, but flavored beans can be nice sometimes. I drink straight black coffee too, which I've always figured is one reason why I didn't like, flavored coffees, because I'm just used to drinking black coffee. And my wife would say, why is that not more bitter than something else? But, oh, she's around, but I think she's asleep. I don't think she's awake. She was, and she said she was going to come on the show, but I don't think she's going to make it. Let's call and wake her up. I know that sounds funny. She's upstairs and I'm downstairs, but it's either that or yell through the door. I call her more than I call anybody. Let's see if she answers. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. Beaverton, Oregon. Okay.
Hello.
Say hi to everybody online, honey. You're live.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know if I can hear you or not. Somebody was asking if you were around this morning. I said, well, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Phew.
Yeah, we have friends online. Be careful what you say. Carol said, good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Carol.
You should wake up, hop up, and get online and say hi to everybody.
I will do that.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, it worked. That wasn't near as hard as I thought it'd be. I might be in trouble later, but oh well. It's easier than trying to find each other. I mean, of course, if we're in the store or at Disney World, we're separated. That's one thing. But in your own house, the girls think we're crazy because I bet they do it too. They just don't admit it. But since I can't get up and down the stairs very well, I don't do it too many times a day. Once or twice at the most, and that's about all I can do. And So it's just a lot easier to. It's either yell upstairs or call her. And if she's in the back part of the house, where her sewing rooms are, her sewing studios or whatever, she can't hear me at all from here. So I have to call if I'm not gonna go up. Because even with my loud voice, she can't hear me. Hope I do hear movement though. Yeah, it could be good or bad, guys. So if she comes in here and hits me with something, you're witnesses. That's one thing about living half your life in the basement. You always know when somebody's upstairs moving around. My guess is that first trip right there was probably to go to the little girl's room, and just a guess. Well, Tina, maybe his hearing's gotten bad and he just can't hear you. You can train Teddy to be a courier cat. Well, I wish I could. He's kind of giving you an evil look right now, Russ. I'm like, maybe that's not in his contract. So Round Lake is around Sarasota Springs. Interesting. I wonder if our coffee comes out of the same roasters, Tina. I'd like to have to look that up. That's one. I guess that I'll have to admit that's one thing where a dog comes in a little handy. They can be a little bit more subservient and be trained to do things for their best friend, so to speak. Teddy's best friend is me, but all he's trained me to do is sit down properly and make a lap so he can lay on it and sleep. And of course, it requires a pillow, doesn't it? He just gave me the paw, like, talk to the paw while I'm not listening. Like, what was it, last night? I think it was night before last. He came down here and he was behind my chair in the floor, and he's got, for a big cat, he can meow the most pitiful little meow cry that it's just heart wrenching. And he'll sit back there and do that until and he'll go over to the couch and he'll sit there a minute and he'll come back and he'll do it again. And then I'll talk to him and then he'll go over to the couch. And he's wanting me to go over there and sit down or lay down so he can, get comfortable and take a nap. Talk to the ball. That's right, Russ. Oh, that's interesting, Tina. Yeah, let me know what you find out about that. I would be curious to know if they're in the same area, or maybe there's just a lot of roasters up there for some reason. I bet that if they do, I bet it smells good. Anyway, if I go over there and lay down on my side to rest my backside, if I lay a pillow on my back between me and the back of the couch, he hops up there and he'll go to sleep, and man, does he get comfortable. I know you guys have seen the pictures. He's just, that cat knows how to relax now when he's ready. I don't know if I can pull those up right now or not. If I could, I'd pop a couple of them online here, showing you him at his best. And I always know he's really down and out when he's laying on his back, his feet are out like this, and his head's just kind of laying off the pillow like this. And I know he's in, some far, far away place. And he can lay like that for a couple hours, longer than I can usually. So he's really good at it too. He's got that sleeping thing down pat. He's a good boy, though. I don't know what in the world I'll do without him if something happens to him. I told him I needed to die before he did. And he couldn't do no wrong. Well, you know what, Carol? Every once in a while, my hands would disagree with you. But I'm not going to argue the point. I know you take his side anyway. There was another topic I was going to bring up. Let me think here a moment. Oh, I got a Windows 11 update to do. I'll have to do that later. Morning, Will Robbins. Anybody ever watch the History Channel show Alone? Out of curiosity, I didn't used to watch any of those kind of things. Mountain Man, Alone. I don't know. Reality TV is not usually my thing. Sorry, Tim. I'm the president of the Teddy fan club, not the Tim fan club. Well, I realize that, Kay, Carol. That's why I knew I was out of luck already, because by contract, you're not going to be on my side. I've accepted that, and I understand it. Well, it's kind of an interesting show in a way, and I did watch this recent season. In fact, I've watched the last two, which were kind of run together and not too long. But and it's interesting. It's kind of, while there's parts of it I really understand it and would like to do myself. Thought I had another visitor. Some parts of it are pretty tough, although Lord knows I could live off body fat for probably months if I, had the chance, or if I had to. But it was this last show they had. It was called Alone Frozen, and they did something new. They dropped six. I think it was 6 people, 3 women, 3 men, in Newfoundland in winter, or as winter was starting, and so there was a whole new thing. They were gonna get cold. I mean, they often is in fall or cool weather, but this time it was going to snow, and up there it could snow several feet in a day. So they had to all consider that stuff. I thought the bad part of that was, and I don't know how they pick sites, but there did seem to be a lack of prey species for them to survive on. Sorry, I'm wiggling around, guys. I'm starting to hurt a little bit. So they were struggling a bit to stay fed. And a curious thing about that was, one I found interesting, and this is always, it sounds, I don't know if this sounds good or bad about me, and I hope it doesn't sound weird, but maybe it's because I'm a girl dad, but I tend to pull for women in those kind of deals, because they're usually considered the underdogs. And I don't believe that's true. And so this time it ended up being down to 3 women that made it longer than the men, and then one lady actually stayed. They were putting this event. They're usually up there as long as they can, and then they go get them once the last person calls in. But this time it was for, if you could stay 50 days, you could win $500,000, or split it with anybody else that made it 50 days. Now, Tina, that one I've never watched. I've seen it and flipped by it, because that one to me is just, in a way, it's silly. I mean, I don't know if these people know what they're doing out and alone. I don't know how they survive. I have, again, maybe I should watch it before I judge it, but I just wonder how prepared people are for that scenario. And I'm not sure why the naked part has to be that big a deal or why that's important. They ought to at least drop them out with a loincloth on or something. I mean, I don't know. That one hasn't piqued my attention. And maybe it's because they got everything blurred out so you don't see anything inappropriate. And that's just distracting for me. Women do some things very well. Men do other things really well. We need to get past the idea that men and women are the same. That's true, Tina. That is true. And you're right. When men and women are not interchangeable, but there are a lot of things that women can do just as well as men that they weren't always allowed to do in the past, and I think they should be now. But I think trying to say women and men are absolutely the same, it's are a little different. I mean, even I can't get that PC. I mean, I'm not arguing or disagreeing. I'm probably agreeing with what you're saying, and it's just. But anyway, when all things are equal or the field's level, I think they can. Oops, the coffee warmer went off. Turn that back on. Anyway, one of the things that you don't think about, or maybe people don't think about in a case like that or a show like that, is how much their body actually suffers from lack of nourishment in food, and how long and sometimes really the reality of it is how long they last depends on how long their body can take not having enough food to eat, or if they can't get enough water, which makes usually that's if you can't get water, that's usually a stopper even before eating this. Tim, if you did your show naked and afraid, you might get more views. But I'd be the one afraid. Well, Russ, I'm going to tell you a little secret about that. If I did my show naked, I probably wouldn't have anybody watching, is what I'm thinking. And everybody should be afraid. I know I would be. So I think I'll just keep my clothes on. Of course, you don't know if I've got anything below this shirt from here down, but you never know. We'll keep that. I'll just keep that my little secret. My camera falls down someday, and you can see below, my chair seat. You might figure that you might be surprised. But anyway, these women, they had a couple of women on there. Actually, all three of them were really, really involved in outdoor and primitive skills, living off the land. They all live in areas where they live off the land a fair bit anyway, normally. They know a lot about what plants you can eat and what plants you can't, and how to harvest different kinds of food. But this last one, there didn't seem to be a lot of game there, so they weren't getting a lot of red meat. And as much as we stay away from fatty foods, or they want you to, like I do, you have to have some, and they were really suffering from that. And I think I got more. I think I understood or picked up more on the fact that their bodies really you suffer. Your body actually can get irreparable damage from that. So I can just imagine what kind of shape, or try to imagine what kind of shape people are in the world where they don't have enough food ever, and they're starving half the time. And I mean, here these people are doing it because they want to, or they can get paid for it. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting ordeal or deal. And I've kind of kept up with a couple of them because of how they finished, and trying to see how they've done after that. And one of them was actually on the show before, and she stayed 80 something days out in the wilderness. I don't know if she won or not, but she said in the end her body suffered from a lot of malnutrition problems, and it took her months to rehab, actually get back to where she was when she started. I walk away for a few minutes, and now we are talking about a naked Tim. That's what happens, Ian. You blink and woohoo! You might have missed it, as Ray Stevens said. How do you put that? Don't look, Ethel. But it was too late. She'd done been streaked. Yeah, Tina, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned hall passes before we started talking about that. There was a guy on Naked and Afraid in Africa where a guy was pulled for medical. He got constipated so bad he was. Yeah, that happens. I mean, that's a real fact of life. And they talk about that a little bit on this Alone show, that when you get to that position where you have such a drastic change in your diet, your bowels don't work right. Brenda did pass out. She passed out lifetime permission slips. But now we have different folks in the chat, so I think we're still in for a lawsuit. Oh my goodness. Hopefully Diana and Mike can't sue because they're in a different country. So hopefully they're not going to sue. Ian, I'm not sure about Ian. I think I could get Ian. I think maybe I could get Ian to back down from a lawsuit because he's watching from work. So he wouldn't want to get in too much trouble. Now Tina and you, I'd be worried about, and maybe Russ too, since he might get in on it. And I don't know about Leanne. She might be a friend, but I've got a feeling that she might get in on something like that. See what you guys can get at. I'm afraid you wouldn't get much out of me though in the law. Nobody is, because there just ain't much there to get enough. Ian doesn't pay enough attention. I think that just depends on the subject matter, Ian. And since there's not been a real consistent subject matter today, I can understand. Ian's probably too busy, and I don't want to get somebody in trouble if they're at work. Tina, of course, you opened up the door to this type of inappropriate content when you implied the name of your coffee a while back. I always knew you were a bad influence. Oh, don't be pointing fingers, Carol. We get started doing that. Next thing you know, there'll be people in other chat rooms saying, "You hear what happened over there? They broke out into an open brawl." One said this and another said that. Pretty soon it was just a big free for all. Ian said, "My brain is not focusing well today, here or at work." Drink more coffee, Ian. I've had about a quart now in the last few minutes, so I'm doing pretty good. I always goes faster when I'm on the show. I drink more. I have to make extra coffee on Saturday mornings because it won't last long. I like to drag out my coffee jug so I have coffee up until 6 or 7 o'clock, at least a cup at night, and just so I don't have to make any more or don't want to use it up. Doing that. Whoa! Did you guys see that flash? Tennessee Bears and that. Yeah, you guys went black. I must have had a blip. Jerry Springer show. Ian, don't start that rumor. I don't know though. If there's money in it, I guess I could do that. Sorry, Carol. Tina says, "Sorry, Carol. Now you know me for who I really am, an instigator." I've been accused of that a time or two, Tina. You think that's what it was, Carol? Honestly, I didn't stand up naked or anything. Maybe I did. Russ, that would be cool. Where'd I go, I wonder? Nobody's asked me about my name today. It's a sash, basically, shash. And that's a Navajo word for bear. So I used a Navajo word today. I've been reading a bunch of books about Navajos, and I'm absolutely enthralled with the Navajo culture and religion and stuff right now. I've bought books about it. I'm reading books about it, and it's just I'm fascinated by it. They have a really interesting way of looking at life, or I don't know if I should say historically or no. Help me out here, ladies. What's the Tina? I know Tina or Carol, one of you can know what I'm trying to say. It's what was I trying to think of? What was the word I'm trying to look for? Part of their heritage, I guess, or something to that effect. I looked up Shush, but didn't see that. Been on 2 different trips to Navajo Reservation. Love those people. Have you, Ian? What were you down there for? Can you say? Don't. I mean, if it's a secret, and you'd have to kill us. Just keep it to yourself. Well, I'm sure it comes up as something different just in the English language, but if you actually ask to look it up in Navajo, you'll find it as bear. I looked it up to make sure before I did. Perspective, Carol. Thank you. That's a good word. It's it's very interesting. I mean, a lot of Native American. I'm going to use the word religion, although that's not entirely histories and lore and creation stories and all that are actually fairly similar. They're not all the same, but they're similar. And but then they tend to branch off, and the Navajo really branch off significantly, I think. Hey, there's Brenda Sue. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Yeah, he was very eager to get hold of my get a hold of my Audible credits. I got news for you, baby doll. I got them now. I get more books. The kids went on a middle school trip to the Rehoboth Christian School in western New Mexico. I chaperoned, and both of my kids went. Oh, that's cool, Ian. Oh, there you go again, Carol. Thank you. Culture would be the right word. Thank you. Anyway, it's fast. I just find it fascinating. Of course, I've always found that fascinating. It's not, but I just never have. This is the first time I've actually delved into the culture of the Navajo people. Well, Carol, I'm glad you didn't get involved in the conversation we had about combining our Audible accounts because I got a whole bunch of new credits. And you've been down twice, and so you went as a chaperone when another time, or were your kids at different? I guess they were at different times, weren't they? You don't really have to tell us about that. I would be interested in talking to you about that. If you don't want to do it online or on this show, maybe we can do a group call sometime on here. Oh, well, not here, but on Instagram, and I'd love to hear about it and your thoughts on it. Yes, I do too, Brenda. The Code Talker story was very to learn that all years after. I mean, I'm sure that was it was fairly common knowledge in some circles with the military and whatnot, but I'm not sure most people knew about it till many years later. Well, yeah, maybe Thursday night would be a good time. I don't know, Ian. Can you get online for a little while on Thursday night and do that? We'll have to discuss that. I'd love to do the group call thing because that way I don't have to do all the talking, and I get more ideas that way. So 2 separate trips, free country and great people with wonderful culture. I think that's probably true, Ian. I mean, I really do. I think they, like I said, I'm fascinated by their culture and how they live and what they believe and their superstitions, their other religious beliefs. They have a very interesting concept of life after death, I guess you could call it, and it's interesting. What in the world was Russ says? I just moved outside to watch the rest of the show. Oh, wrong one, Russ. Sorry about that, Ian. Oh, there it is. Moved outside to watch the rest of the show. I'm sitting on the golf course at a resort here in Orlando. It's 80 degrees, and I'm watching the players set up on the green nearby. Well, speaking of golf course, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but Surf Bum John's not here today because he's out hunting golfs himself. I got to ask him if he gets any when he gets back, and how he cooks them. $80 degrees though down there, Russ. You guys probably feel like it's fall. I mean, that's almost bearable. Well, compared to 100, it is bearable. That'd be great, Ian. I'd love to have you on one night, and I'm trying to come on earlier just for people like yourself who may not be able to stay up as late as I was on before. I may do some more late night shows, but last week was on at 7, or not this week. I didn't do one this week. Week before last was on at 7, and I don't know. Seemed like it worked. They were mostly they're okay. That's what some of them say. They took the Jesus road. Very, very cool how they keep their past culture beliefs while still keeping the Christian beliefs. Huh. That is interesting, Ian. Weather has been gorgeous this week. Only nice thing after hurricane is the beautiful weather. Yeah, I've heard that before, but can be kind of a rough price to pay to get nice weather. This cold came down up Mike and Diana's way, and it pushed pretty deep. Like Dave, I don't know if Dave's still in here, but it dipped way down into Georgia, at least along the mountains. Apple pie? You didn't mention anything about an apple pie, did you? Maybe you did. Do you have any, thing to put on that apple pie, like maybe vanilla ice cream? That's an interesting comment, Ian. I'd like to talk to you about that too. Who eats in this room? Raise your hand if you eat cheese on your apple pie. Growing up here, I never heard of that as pie a la mode, but I guess in some places, if you order it that pie a la mode, you will get it with cheese on top. And I do like to eat cheese with apple. A good apple bite into. No cheese, please, Ian says. Anybody else got a comment about cheese and apple pie? I'd like to know if you no cheese. Well, somebody told me that it was somebody from Minnesota once said, Brett says that's just weird. And Tina says, I don't, but my mom and grandparents from Pennsylvania did. Yeah, that's some states that's common. In Wisconsin, or not Wisconsin, that is a dairy state. Maybe they do it there. But I used to work with a guy from Minnesota, and he said he was pretty sure in Minnesota that was a state law. You had to eat cheese on your apple pie. And Leanne says, I told you, it's like Thanksgiving dinner, 2 pots of Pepsi roast, pork roast, pot roast, mashed taters, string beans, biscuits, and salad. See, Leanne, I always knew you were my people. Mashed taters and string beans, that's how we'd say it down here. cheese on apple pie is on menus in Western New York. See, I knew it was in some places. So maybe there's like a pocket from Western New York and part of Pennsylvania out to the Midwest where they eat cheese on their apple pie. And I think it's usually cheddar. I think. I'm not positive. I do get it though. I love to eat apple slices. Yeah, me too. That's what I was just saying. I used to carry an apple or something with me if I was out hiking a little bit or working, and I would carry cheese with it, and take a bite of the apple and then take a bite of the cheese, or lay them together and eat it whichever way if I was cutting it up. But I like it that way. It has to be cheddar. My grandpa ate an apple pie that way. Here we go. But it has to be cheddar. Well, yeah, I've only had it with cheddar, so I don't. Quakers, maybe. Well, it could be Quakers. It might be a Quaker thing. Not sure about that. Huh. I wonder if it could have been an Amish thing or a Mennonite thing got started. I don't know about that. Here's one I'm going to throw at you, and I bet I'm the only one in here that has tried this. I like apples, and I really like York peppermint patties. And I love to eat apples with York peppermint patties together, just like the cheese and the apple. I put a chunk of peppermint patty in with my apple bite. That is so good. So before you say yucky poo, you need to try it. Oh, Tina's grandfather was Mennonite. Maybe I don't know. Did he eat cheese on his apple pie, Tina? Or do you remember? But you should try the York peppermint patty thing with the apple. I'm telling you, it is a good flavor mix. I don't know if Brenda ever tried it herself or not, but everybody that I've talked into trying it liked it. At least I think they did. Either that or they lied to me because they didn't want to hurt my feelings. But I like it. I really do. That's one of my favorite treats. If I get York peppermint patties like for Christmas, I always try to eat some of them with apples. Brenda. I could say that Coke. The only good thing about Coca-Cola is making chocolate cake too. Try it, Carol, and let me know what you think. You may not like it, and maybe it depends on the apple, but I don't know if it'd be good with like a Granny Smith or not. I don't know if I've ever tried that. Oh, Russ says he Googled it. Cheddar cheese and apple pie is likely from the British from the 1700s, so they might have brought that with them then, or at least some of them. I never heard of such a thing. I thought it was a travesty because the only thing I ever wanted on apple pie was vanilla ice cream, which I do really enjoy. Leanne said Coke is good for cleaning windshields too. Oh, no. Okay, you pronounce that vitreous, China? AKA the toilet. Okay. You know what? I'll have to try that, Carol or Leanne. That would be my favorite way to treat Coke. I would love to pour Coke down the toilet. We have a little feud in this house. I'm not a Coke guy. And it's as much personal reasons as it has anything to do with taste or refreshment. Brenda doesn't like Pepsi. I grew up drinking Pepsi, to be honest. When I got at home, if we ever had that soft drinks, that's what we had. And then I grew up and I worked for Coca-Cola Company for a little while, and that was enough to turn anybody off Coca-Cola. Or at least if you're like me, it did. Mom and Tim's family had a lot of Quakers. Yeah, and we did. The acetic acid in Pepsi and Coke tenderizes the meat. That's what I've heard too, Leanne. Brenda's dad was a truck driver, and he swore by it. He used Coke to clean his windshields with. RC Cola. RC Cola and the Moon Pie. Tina says her mom's parents were an anomaly. He, a Mennonite, married a Lutheran, very progressive. Very progressive for your grandparents. That is an interesting combination. I bet there were some interesting discussions around that house. I wonder what their parents thought about that. Hey, Ian, you know what? When I was growing up, there were a lot of soft drink companies around that we used to get in stores. And you could go into a little country store somewhere and you could go to the cooler and slide open one of those cabinets that the doors slide open or pop open. And you reach down there and get the coldest soft drinks in the world. But you had a choice. You could get a Pepsi, you could get a Coke, Mountain Dew. I remember Mountain Dew came out. Mountain Dew was a local product for me growing up. It actually started up here in East Tennessee. But then we would have like knee-high grape and crush grape or crush orange and later grape. And then there was like lemonade drinks. I remember in bottles. These were all in bottles, by the way, deposit bottles. And maybe a Dr. Enough, which was also an East Tennessee product. And there was the Pepsi, what had been the Pepsi Cola plant in Johnson City had brewed a lot of these smaller brand soft drinks for other brewed. That's not the right word, I guess. Produced for other companies. So we had a lot of different things. Now you go to the store and if it's either a Coke product or a Pepsi product, usually, if it's not an energy drink, well, hell, most of those are Pepsi or Coke on too. What did Mike say? Mike Brom, first moon pie. A couple of weeks ago, and Ian said, "Oh, now peanuts and Coke." Well, we ain't got to that yet, Brenda. Hang on a minute. Town Club Cola growing up. Town Club. I don't know, Carol. I don't know if that one sounds familiar or not. Leanne, yes, I have had Coke and peanuts and Pepsi and Coke growing up. I heard a discussion about that. Oh, probably last year. A lot of people don't know about that thing, but that was a pretty common practice down here when you were sitting around the country store. I guess you could say loitering or loafing and sitting out on the front stoop or the sidewalk, seeing who comes by and whatnot. I really did grow up in the country. And pouring a bag of salted peanuts down into your Coke was a common thing. Let's see, Carol said she didn't drink much pop, but it was almost always Faygo. And I do remember Faygo, but I don't remember it being down here too long. And Ian said Coke, Pepsi are the 7-Up guys here. Well, see, back here, Pepsi tends to sell 7-Up. And there's also a split here. Some parts of Tennessee, this may not still be true, but it was when I was driving a truck. Coke sold Mr. Pibb, and Pepsi actually sold Dr. Pepper. Now Dr. Pepper is a Coke thing, and that may be everywhere now. Mike says our version of moon pies are called wagon wheels. Well, you would have to be different. So what did you think of your first moon pie? Is it the same thing as a wagon wheel, Mike? I remember when Sundrop opened a distributor in my little town in Linden, Tennessee. Oh, I definitely remember Sundrop. I mean, we still have Sundrop. They brought cases around to everyone in town for free. It was a big deal. I bet it was. I used to have a buddy that lived in Texas. Well, he lived up here, and he loved Sundrop. And if my buddy Phil went to see him, he always took him a case of Sundrop because he liked Sundrop so much. Rusty, you remember having Sundrop that you had to shake up, and it wasn't carbonated. There was a brand of Sundrop that was more of a fruity drink, not carbonated, fizzy soda. If you remember that, he used to get that kind. Never heard of Town Club, Tina says. But it's sad how the big companies go. Yeah, it is, Tina. You don't get the variety anymore. I only heard of it when we lived in Savannah, that and boiled peanuts. Yeah, I'm not a big boiled peanut fan myself. Regional differences, like Dr. Pepper is independent and gets bottled by whoever has the contract. Yeah, I think that's probably still the case, Ian, but back here it's pretty much Coke got it wrapped up. But it's funny because the Coke distributor that I work for sold Mr. Pibb. They didn't sell Coke. Pepsi had it. And never was crazy about wagon wheels. I would say they're about the same. Okay. Well, I actually don't eat a lot of moon pies myself. I like them once in a while, but I wouldn't eat them all the time. Town Club was, maybe still is, sold in wooden cases of 20. Oh, I can remember when everything was in a wooden case. I used to have to stack and sort those things. You'd go and select 24 of the same flavor or all different ones. There was a deposit on the case. There was. I used to have to write credits or charge a deposit on the flats or cases. We called them flats. We called them cases. There was something else they called them. But there was a charge on them. There was here. I mean, when I drove the truck for Coca-Cola, all that stuff had a deposit on it. And we were just starting to sell no deposit bottles. Well, they were glass, but they were no deposit. I hated it. I hated that. Even back then, I didn't like the idea. Okay. Actually, Dr. Pepper is bottled by 7-Up. Okay. But they have Pepsi distributed. Depends on where you are, Russ. Coke does it up here. Now, anyway. Or at least in Knoxville. Cajun flavored. Which Cajun flavor are you talking about, Tina? Oh, the boiled peanuts, I bet. Owned by Keurig. That's interesting. And who do they say Keurig's owned by? Because I thought Green Mountain Coffee owned Keurig. Or maybe that's vice versa. There are a lot of cool little companies that just they just couldn't make it. Oh, I love Whoopie Pies. No, they're not the same thing at all, but they are good. As in Amish Whoopie Pies? Is there a different kind? Been watching a YouTube guy that goes out and digs in the old outhouses and old towns. Has anybody ever seen that before? Because outhouses, if you're a bottle collector or just looking for small tidbits of history, old outhouses, way out of use, long decomposed, and all that kind of stuff, the refuse in them, are great places to dig for old artifacts because people used to throw all their trash, in some places, their trash down in the outhouse hole. And it's amazing what people get out of some of those. I mean, they dig up bottles that are worth hundreds of dollars because that's the only place they ever find them is down those holes. And the one she's talking about actually go out and get maps of the old town layouts, and they used to have outhouses marked on the maps, and they would get those maps and find those locations, and if they were available to dig, they would dig them. Okay, Green Mountain's under the Keurig brand. Okay, I knew it was one of the other Green Mountain's original, at least, roaster or whatever you call that kind of a factory is just down the road here ways. Keurig Dr. Pepper Inc. Well, I did not know that, Ian. So thank you for that. That's a lesson. I did not realize they were together. That had to happen in the last few years because Keurig's not been around that long, or at least not under that name. I have seen some canned boiled peanuts that I could eat. They were still in the shell and boiled, and you popped them out and ate them, and they were soft. They weren't hard. Wasn't that crazy about them, but I have seen them that look honestly, terrible. I wouldn't eat. Green Mountain Coffee. Yeah, it was. It was formerly called Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Oh, yeah. If anybody knows where you can buy banana flips, I'll send you money if you buy some and send them to me. Banana flips were something we used to eat, I guess, as kids, and I'm sure they're not good for you, but I liked them. And I haven't seen one now in years. I'm assuming they're all gone from this area, at least. Carol, look around next time you're in the grocery store. See if you guys still they still have banana flips. Because I'm not kidding you. I'd probably buy some if I can get them, just because I can't find them anymore. Well, you got a point there, Tina. You buy the peanuts alongside. Yeah, they down here are not here necessarily Tennessee, but some parts of Tennessee, but further south you can find boiled peanut stands all over the place. Well, we certainly hope there isn't, Brenda. All right, time out for nosebleed. I just learned something. When my screen is black here and I have this little, icon thing that I created, it doesn't show up on that side, on the YouTube side. I wonder why. Tina says one of our dear friends have an old family recipe for whoopie pies. We never had better. Are they? I guess they're chocolate. What makes them unique? Do you think, Tina? Different from anybody? I mean, I'm sure there's different recipes, and we made a recipe not long ago. I don't know, Brenda. What would you call the pie part? It wasn't. They weren't chocolate. Stinky. Time out, Tim. First charge. Well, I got two more then in this half. What time is it? I got about 20 minutes before kickoff. Brenda Pruitt says something heavy just got dumped on our front porch. I don't think I ordered anything. And now you're making me hungry, Tina. I'd love to have some whoopie pies. I haven't had. Mom used to make them, and I liked hers, of course. I mean, growing up eating them. But then again, Mom made the best carrot cake in the world. Brenda's is very, very close. But Mom used to do something to her icing that made it just a little different. But man, I love carrot cake. That's the best. For years, that's when my birthday cake was, a carrot cake. Something heavy. I really don't think I was expecting anything. Oh, you know what it was? I bet it was, Brenda. I bet it was your soup. Almost lost the string there. Russ says maybe a surprise lifetime supply. Well, a lifetime supply of banana flips, that'd be cool. Russ says banana flips owned by Hostess. They don't make them much anymore. But they use the recipe for banana Twinkies and are close to the same. What I'm reading. I've never had either. Well, I don't know if we can get. I'll have to look for banana Twinkies. We can try that. Excuse me. banana flips, if you haven't ever seen one, they were kind of like a folded taco of sponge cake, kind of like a Twinkie. And then they were filled with a banana cream center, which usually, if you got a good one, that's kind of leaking out all around the taco. So it was yum delicious. Pineapple or no pineapple in the carrot cake? No pineapple. Well, no pineapple in hers. Now, I do like pineapple, so pineapple cake, I might like pineapple in a carrot cake, but I don't think I've ever had it that way, Leanne. Do you do pineapple? I like pineapple in it, but Tim will probably say no pineapple, considering that's his all-time favorite cake. So you've had it with pineapple, Brenda. I don't think I knew that. I don't think I've ever had it with pineapple, but you're absolutely right about the regular carrot cake. That is my favorite cake. That'd be a good thing for you to make for me this weekend, just for being a good guy. You get banana. Yeah, we got banana moon pies too, but that's just different than a flip for me anyway. I haven't had pineapple and carrot cake, but I'm willing to try it. Banana moon pies. I do, and Leanne does pineapple. Well, my goodness. I guess I'll have to try that, Leanne. That got Brenda's attention, Carol. And Russ, it says, Hostess renamed them Banana Dreams. They were originally made by a company named Nichols. That sounds familiar, Russ. The Nichols. I'll have to look for Banana Dreams then. Maybe they're out there somewhere, or maybe like you said, they just don't make them a lot. Or is that what they're calling the Twinkie ones now? If they're out there, I'll have to try them. See if they're the same. And Kate puts pineapple in coleslaw. Now, there's another different one. I don't think I've ever had that either. That's an interesting twist. Chunks or what's the other kind called? It's more not ground up, but more shredded. Carol Skarkey said we used to get banana milkshakes at McDonald's in the South. Not at McDonald's. McDonald's just does chocolate and vanilla now. That's pretty much all you'll get there. I've seen banana milkshakes in places, but I mean, you can still get a banana milkshake of sorts at like Sonic or something, but I don't. Well, McDonald's every once in a while will do, a special milkshake, like a green mint shake for St. Patty's Day or something for Christmas, maybe. But they generally don't have them. They just do vanilla and chocolate. Dang. Tina says she remembers Nichols. I think they made some other stuff. I mean, I can't remember what all. Yeah, crust, Tina. Thank you. Now the banana Twinkies are branded with the Minions and are a novelty flavor. Hang on just a minute, guys. Be right back. I'm getting choked on something. I was about to spit my teeth out. So I did. Cookout has some awesome milkshake flavor. Cookout. I think we have a few cookouts here, Kay. Not a lot, but I think there's a few scattered about. Milkshakes at McDonald's are nothing but edible plastic. Well, that's probably true, Lee. And I always prefer making my own. And Kay uses crushed pineapple. And Brenda says, Sonic. I think they do, Brenda. You know what they don't have around here, though, guys? If you have Sonics in your area, they don't do banana splits here anymore. They used to have banana splits, and I'd get one occasionally and take it home to Brenda, but can't get one anymore. You guys, anybody in? I'm sure somebody here has Red Robin hamburger restaurants or whatever they call them, and they may actually have a different name in other parts of the country. But they have pretty good milkshakes too. It's in the 70s, so most of our diet was garbage. Well, you got a point there, Kay, or Carol. Kay, what is the name of the place? There is a place to eat in South Carolina, just not too long before you get to North Carolina, off the interstate, where you can go in and get. They've got burgers and fries and that kind of stuff, but they're famous. Oh, what's his name? The drive-in. Brenda, do you remember? And it's near. I don't know how close it is to UK, but it's near. Oh shoot! What's the name of that city? Used to always say it with Greenville kind of in a like they were both together. We got Red Robin's, over their burgers wrapped in lettuce, no bun. Yeah, I think Brenda's had that, and I may have had one actually, Leanne. Cookout's the only place I know where you can get a corn dog as a side dish. Well, that's not bad. That's a pretty good thing. Okay. South of the border. No, that's not. Oh, well, that's a different place. That's not the one I was thinking. South of the border used to be a big deal. I'm not sure that Bucky's not taking it. The Beacon, maybe that's it. The Beacon. Thank you, Kay. Man, that's good. They've got good burgers and stuff. But boy, you better be ready to order when you step up there. Okay, Brenda. What do you mean kitty litter? Oh, outside? Well, maybe it is kitty litter. I didn't order that, so I don't know. But I did order you some soup, so. Oh yes, and they have really that they are famous for the sweet tea. You're right. It's a big old cup of tea too, as I recall. I've only been in, I think I've been there twice, but as we've traveled by it, going to a couple of times, I've been to Myrtle Beach, but it's pretty good stuff. I mean, but you walk up to you get in line and walk by the place to order your food. And you better be prepared to order because they're ready to take your order right now. Just remember the fake health food that my mom used to buy, like Wonder Bread. Yeah, Build Strong Bodies 12 Ways. I remember that, Carol. And Tang, the astronaut beer. Oh, I've drank a lot of Tang in my life. That sounds delicious. And Chuck says hello. Hey, Chuck. Oh, bless his heart. Tell him I'll tell him I need to send him a present. Carol says we have Red Robin, but I've never been. They're pretty good. Some people used to say it was kind of a pricey burger, but in these days I don't know it's any different than anybody else. Or up on Tang, haven't had it in years. I haven't either, but I know they used to advertise the whiz out of it, and it was always, the space drink. That was a big deal. What's that there? That's a towhee. I got a towhee on my back porch, and Teddy has suddenly woke up and come to attention. Oh, really, Tina? That's interesting. What? I thought Leanne just said hi. Did she say something else that I missed? Where'd he go? Huh? Where'd he go? Did he leave? Were you going to go out and get him? Huh? Nope, he's leaving. He don't want to get on. He don't want to get on the TV no more. Now what are we talking about? Tang. Oh, that's still Tang. Tang is great for cleaning the dishwasher. Your kid, is that right, Leanne? Seriously? And Carol says that too. I've never heard of that. Oh, okay. He blushes easily. Tina, that would have been a dream come true for me back in the day. Well, guys, I haven't looked. I don't know who all's online today, but who was that? Oh, Tony might be. And Tony, I think Tony's fundraiser is today, Phantasmic Chronicles, I believe. So, that'd be a worthy cause. I can't remember right this minute what he's raising money for, but it's children. I know that. I can remember taking Tang in a thermos. I used to drink instant breakfast. Is that what they called it? Instant breakfast. It was like a milkshake. You'd mix it up with milk and drink it. And there was strawberry and chocolate and malted chocolate flavor and a fudgy chocolate flavor, or maybe that was Slim Fast. But I can remember Carnation Instant Breakfast. That's what it was. That probably wasn't good for you either. Probably. Our generation used to eat and drink some pretty scary stuff. My mom used to give us aspirin crushed with a spoon and a glass of Tang. No seatbelts. Yeah, that's right, Tina. No seatbelts. No cars. Barely had car seats. I can remember we took my brother home from the hospital. It's just an image I have in my mind, and he was in this kind of like a bassinet bed thing. You could set it on the floor. You could it had legs under it, but you could set it in the car seat. Basically, he was just laying in, on his back, sitting in the back seat behind the driver's seat, or no restraint of any kind. And yet, like Zen says, yet we did make it. So, I guess we just dared risk life and limb every day. Not that I do wear seatbelts and think they're a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but on the Tang, let's see. Oh, Tina, don't say that. Maybe that's what's wrong with me. I've had a sweet tooth awful lately. And Brenda's there you go. Thank you, Carol, for posting that. I meant to ask somebody too. Carol says, I remember riding in the back glass of our car. Oh, I've done that too. Up in the back, there used to be a big panel behind the back seat, and as a kid, you could get up there and lay in it. I remember doing that. I remember getting up there and sleeping. If Dad slammed on brakes, I would go rolling into the seat and then the floor. Yes, Kay, I've experienced all that too. I've been rolled off the top of the back seat. And then my brother, I kind of grew out of the back, that, I don't know what we even called that back then, the rear deck, and he got it. My brother got it. And we always called the way back, Leanne, we always call that like the very back of a station wagon or something. It had a way back or a way back. Somebody I knew called that the way back. So maybe the back seat was the way back. Ian said, even when I was growing up, I would never have envisioned a community of online friends I could chat with every Saturday. Times have changed. Well, thank you, Ian. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Oh, I'm going to start signing off, guys. One, I'm starting to hurt. And two, it's football time in Tennessee, so I'm going to go watch a football game and hope they can pull off another miracle win and be 5-0 for a change. It's been a long time. We once fit 2 adults and 7 kids in a Chevy Chevette. Oh, in a Chevy Chevette when our neighbor's car broke down. Now that was cozy. Oh my goodness. We had a Chevy Chevette for a little while, Carol. That is a top fit. Oh my word. That would have been packing them in there. You're right about that. But that wasn't too unusual to pack 4 or 5 kids in the back seat. Of course, back seats were pretty big back then. Anybody ever ride in an old checker cab? Because checker cabs had back seats like an auditorium or something. They were huge. Hey, thank you, Ian. Go Vols is right. And I don't know who you root for, Buffaloes or Rams out there, but may they go also. Carol, is Michigan playing today? I haven't looked to see who all's on the schedule today. I just know Tennessee plays at noon on ESPN. Well, guys, I really appreciate it, and you saying things like that, Carol and Ian, because it means the world to me. I love you guys being here. Oh, you're a Huskies fan. Okay, well, go Huskies then. As long as you're not playing Tennessee. Way against Indiana at noon also. Oh, that means they'll be at the same time as Tennessee. Teddy came upstairs to eat, but then I had to carry that lug to his bowl. What did he do? Make you take him in there? Kay says we only had 5 people in a 2-door Honda Accord during biker week at Myrtle Beach. Yeah, but how old? An Accord. Okay, an Accord. Well, that's still pretty tight fit, Kay. Thank you, Leanne. I appreciate you coming in. Everybody have a great day. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday and rest of the Saturday and Sunday. And hopefully next week will be a good one. I'm going to try to do a Thursday show and this week, and I'll be back Saturday. I hope. We don't have any plans right now. So as far as I know, I'll be here. And Mark will probably be with me. I got to check on him. I hope everything's all right in Wyoming because, like I said, I've not heard from him in several days now. That's unusual, unless for some reason his phone's not working, which does happen. Although I suspect sometimes it's because it's off, but that's just between me and you. Okay, guys. Appreciate it. Love y'all for being here. Have a great weekend. And remember, if the good Lord's will and the creek don't rise, I'll be back here again next week, bright and early with a cup of coffee and good friends. So see you then. Bye-bye.